Welcome back. Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, has written a book, a new book, to help people understand why you-know-who, the guy in the White House, is the right man for the job. Please welcome Newt Gingrich. So we were just talking about this kind of interesting cabinet meeting that just happened. We thought it was a little bizarre. What'd you think?
Well, let me say first of all, because Krista asked me to say this to you. We were there with you the night you did the Marvin Gaye event at the Community Center.
Yes,
Remember when the mics went out, the whole thing, you were brilliant.
Thank
I just want to say, she wanted to say you were amazing. Well, understanding Trump, whether you like him or dislike him, is really designed to say, look, the guy's really different, and here's some examples of why he's really different. I would say yesterday's cabinet meeting was really different.
That's a really nice way to put it.
Would you say, Newt, that he's a little on the needy side, that he has to have all this constant adoration going on?
Well, look, I mean, first of all, I don't think this would be a great shock to him. If you have a Trump tower and a Trump club with a Trump water...
Yeah, it's not enough.
It's possible that the centrality of Trump is a significant part of his life.
I would say.
And, of course, now he has a Trump Air Force One and a Trump Marine One and a Trump White House. So
I'm sorry, wait, no, he didn't. No,
he has the United States of America's Air Force One.
Sorry, those belong to us.
In his mind,
he can use them, but he can't have them.
he knows that they're on loan.
Okay. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He thinks that they're not yours, babe.
Yeah.
But let's get to Mr. Comey. You think he exonerated the new guy? Why?
Well, I think he, first of all, said flatly that there's no evidence that he has that there's anything involving Trump and Russia. Now, it's pretty hard. If the FBI director says to you after 5 months of looking, I can't find anything, maybe it's possible there isn't anything there. Second, he pointed out, for example, that the New York Times page 1 story, there was this big scandal story, was totally false.
Which total scandal? Which one?
This was one that was based on some leaks from people. And Comey made a good point, which is, when you're reading about an anonymous source with a classified leak, the odds are the person who you're talking to didn't have the classified leak, and the person who had the classified information didn't actually tell the person who had the leak. I mean, if you go back and read his testimony, a lot of all this big puff shrinks.
Yeah, but but Watergate took a few years. You have to give the guy time.
I know you have hope. I realize hope springs eternal.
If you believe that, just based on what you were saying, why was it so hard to accept that he didn't find what everybody thought there was going to be on Mrs. Clinton?
Well, I think actually he found more than enough on Mrs. Clinton, which is why she's still Mrs. Clinton.
But I don't know. Now, that was doublespeak at its best. What did you just say? What the hell did you just say?
He's not president.
I think in the absence of, and I, by the way, thought Comey was fairly bizarre in that job. I mean, but first he does a July thing in which he announces a non-indictment bill of indictment, walks through the whole thing, then says, but I'm not going to suggest indicting. Then he comes back in October and says, oh, we just found this new stuff. I really feel like I have to report it right this minute or I'll feel bad. She would be called President Clinton if he had found nothing.
No,
he found just enough for her to not win.
But that's not me. Go ahead.
Speaker Gingrich, but Speaker, the bottom line is, if the president feels that he was vindicated by some of the things that he said, that implies that Comey's testimony was truthful. Comey also said that the president was a liar, and he also said that the president asked him for his loyalty and asked him to let go of the Flynn investigation. How is that a victory?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I think that in terms of whether or not Trump personally was involved in any way with the Russians, you had Senator Feinstein, leading Democrat, ranking member of intelligence, who said, there's nothing there.
But he also called him a liar. Is that true as well?
I think they will each call each other liars. But remember, Comey was fired. Now, in my experience, people who are fired often are unhappy. And the person who fired him was Donald Trump. And Comey thinks he has to choose. Was Donald Trump's fault or was it his fault? Comey, if you'll notice, whether it's talking about Attorney General Lynch, Attorney General Sessions, President Trump, it's always the other person.
But he wrote those memos before he was fired, so he wasn't disgruntled yet.
Well, you assume he wrote those memos. Of course he was disgruntled. He was disgruntled all through the...
Do you honestly find him credible, though? Because I have so many concerns about Comey. Yeah, do you find him... Okay, well, that's my point, though.
Do you find Trump credible?
But if he had all of these...
Now, come on, dude, let's be real. The guy, according to PolitiFact, Trump has lied 277 times. But we don't have that kind of record on Comey. Come on.
Yeah, but if Comey had all of these issues...
You mean like you get to keep your doctor, you get to keep your insurance. I want to talk about lies and presidents for a minute.
That was a misjudgment.
Do you believe that Obama wiretapped Trump?
I believe that there were people being wiretapped.
Do you believe Obama wiretapped Trump?
Well, I think the wiretaps would not have happened without his approval.
Come on.
Come on. See? No. So do you think, where was President Obama born?
I've been in Honolulu.
Okay, so you thank God.
So he lied about that.
Yeah.
Even after
do you believe
I'm not here to defend. I'm not going to defend Trump as a paragon of purity.
No, not a paragon of purity, but a guy who at least will tell the truth.
I think he tells the truth a lot, and I think the American people concluded that he was a better gamble in our future than Hillary Clinton, and I think that's why he currently is called the president.
3 million people do not agree with that.
That was all in California.
Well, we're not going to stop 3 million people. Last I checked, there were people in California.
That's right.
Do you think that people now, because you're looking at the approval numbers, and they're not great, do you think that what's frustrating for me is that I think a lot of people believed that President Trump would talk about jobs, would talk about health care, and there's a lot of other stuff going on that they want to kind of clear away. Are people frustrated with him? Are they disappointed in him? What are they really feeling out there?
I think it's amazing that if you look at for example, CNN's 93% negative coverage, according to Harvard, 93% negative. I think it's a miracle that Trump has any approval. I mean,
my God.
you have this constant, unending barrage.
I have a question, too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here we go. Here we go. Now
so do you mean, because I recall, and maybe I'm crazy, but I recall from the time the gentleman came down the escalator until the time he won, he was 24/7 on every television, on every network, making one of the head of the network saying, yeah, it wasn't good for America, but it was great for us.
CBS.
It was all positive until people started asking questions. Now,
no, it wasn't all positive.
I'm sorry.
It was live coverage of what Trump was saying.
No, it was all noisy, but it wasn't all positive.
No, it was 98% of it was positive, Newt.
Oh, I
have a question.
I know you disagree with it, but I don't care. I know what I saw.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this? You know, there's a little bit rumblings now that he wants to fire Mueller. I don't know if it's true or not. One of his friends said it. His lawyer implies. My question is, if there's smoke and no fire, then what's he so scared of? What's he afraid of? That he wants to fire the next guy.
Well, if I understand the story that came out this morning, it was by a guy who is close to Trump, who has not talked to Trump, has no idea what Trump is thinking, but he thinks that Trump is thinking, and therefore he said...
His lawyer said that. One of his lawyers implied.
Would that be a mistake? Would that be a mistake if he decided to try to fire the special counsel?
It's a mistake if he was to fire.
By the way, it's not unconstitutional. It's not illegal. He is the president. He can fire me.
But will he suffer politically if he does it?
He would suffer politically, which is why he shouldn't do it.
Probably not.
I don't know if he would even suffer.
Well, you got to come back clearly. There's much more to talk. Much more to talk about.
I had questions about Russia.
I know you did. But we ran out of time.
Where there's smoke, there's vodka.
Thanks to Newt Gingrich. Members of the audience are getting a copy of his book. We'll be right back.